Hello and good evening and welcome to everyone on this week's opportunity meeting. Uh, we're just waiting for the witching hour and then we will kick off um, and I'll outline the running order of today or this evening. I know we have people that will join from different parts of the world. But we welcome them all. Uh, uh, we do ask if the microphones could be muted to enable a smooth, uninterrupted presentation. And if anyone has any major issues, then they can send a message if there's a problem else anywhere. Okay. Trust everyone is hearing me okay. I'm being assisted by Joanna, and I think she's going to be my sense check that everything is going okay. Uh, some of you might see that the host is Kate Lowe. I am not Kate. I'm not as good looking as Kate, but Kate, it's her uh, room that we're using, and hence the name there. Okay, and I think it is 8 o'clock, and I am going to kick off. So, good evening and welcome to everyone here to this opportunity meeting presentation. We're going to spend about 40 to 50 minutes on the what we want to talk to you about. You have been invited by someone who has your interest at heart and believe that this may be something that can help you going forward. So I would ask that you have an open mind, go listen to the presentation, and at the end, we'll be able to, you can have a conversation with the person who's invited you here to fill in any gaps, answer any questions, etc. As I say, my name is Colin Gordon, and I'm involved with this opportunity with my wife, Andrea. Um, the and I'll come back to us in a minute. But as I said, for the running order, I'll run through the key elements of what we want to share with you and what the person who has invited you would want you to get an understanding of. Then I will ask Joanna Bright, who will give her perspective in terms of what she saw and why she's doing what we're doing. We'd have a quick break, and then I'll just touch on some key aspects that I think are essential for building this business. So I said, listen, I I came across this business as my background was I worked within the corporate environment, and I was always on airplanes and all over the world. And it was a case where, the challenges that Andrew and I faced, I guess it's like almost everybody faces. And I think today the challenges are a little bit more because we got this thing called the cost of living that is eating in more into our pockets, and inflation has gone up, and hence the spending power, the money is going down, etc. But the thing is that the bottom line was we always recognized that there was more month than the money the desired money we wanted. And we always recognized that we needed to search for something. We needed to see how can we get ahead? How can we live a more comfortable life? Because whilst most people want to, you get an education and you get a great job, and then you could have a secure pension. Those things don't operate today. The world has been turned upside down. And it was a case of saying, from our time, we were looking to see how do we get ahead um, and get something without any risk. Um, and that was a challenge. And you know, the one of the things that came across, and I came across a quote which I will share with you, and it's important for people who have been invited here to have an open mind because the quote says, "Destiny is not a matter of chance; it's a matter of choice. It is not a thing to be waited for." It's a thing to be achieved. And that's basically saying, hey, you know what? We've got to work for what we want. It's something to have to be to be achieved. Okay, I'll repeat that again. Destiny is not a matter of chance. It's not a matter of chance that you've been invited here to have a look at this business presentation. It's not a matter of chance that the person who have invited you, you know, they were thinking about you and they say, hey, look, let me approach you about this. Okay. So but now destiny is a matter of choice. It's a choice that you will make after having a look at this presentation, after having conversations with the person who's invited you here to see if this is for you. And then it's not a thing to be waited for. In other words, we don't sit back and wait. It is a thing to be achieved. And, you know, that's where I was with Andrew. We were looking to see, hey, can we have a business that is a low risk in terms of capital outlay, but then can teach us how to build this business, how to get ahead. And, you know, that's what we found. And I'm going to share my screen to really get into what we found and who we found that with. So, um, I guess, is everyone seeing that okay? Yeah, right. So, listen, we're talking about the Amway business. Now, what we were looking for, surprisingly, my brother said, come and have a look at business that has got a low financial outlay, high financial rewards, and a system that will teach you how to do that. And I thought, wow, is that possible? Because it's not something that you'd come across with in the corporate world that would say, hey, look, you know, you can have that. But, you know, the key things that struck me was low financial risk. So you don't have to outlay a lot of money, but high financial reward if you follow a system. And just like the quote with destiny, it's a thing to be achieved. And you know, we said, yeah, hey, that made sense. So you know, let's look more about that. And you know, as the quote with destiny says, the future is your choice. And we just want you to have an open mind in having a look at this business opportunity, how you can actually change the trajectory that you're on right now for your benefit, you know, for your benefit, not for the person who's invited you to have a look at this, but for your benefit. And that's what this business offers you. And we're going to walk through how you can actually do that. Right. Now, I talk about, you know, the inflation and capital and whatever else. What we know happening today, absolute fact, more people are recognizing that the JOB is not a stable environment. I'll repeat that. The JOB is not a stable environment. Just today, I was speaking with one of my close buddies in New Jersey, and he said, look, you know, Colin, the job's gone. The JOB is not a stable environment. More and more people, and you know, Amway, a great company, has checked this out, has recognized that more people are pivoting towards, can they own their own business? And hey, you know what? Online is a great way of communicating and getting businesses done. Can they get their own online business? And you'll see that every day on TV, there's something about wellness. Wellness is in vogue. So the mega trends that are around entrepreneurship, online business, and wellness. Big trends. And guess what? We can play in any one or all of those for your benefit. And that's what is really exciting about what we've got within the Amway business. And, the key, I tell you, on this slide is understanding that if you have an inkling for saying, hey, I want to really start my own business, but what do I do? What's my products? How do I go about this? Hey, we know how a ready-made plug and play business for you. Oh, is that right? Yeah. All right. But the online, do I need a lot of money for that? No, you don't need any money for that. You're going to get a part of the online platform that you could run as your own business for real. And okay, I need some strength to be able to press the keys. We will help you build your strength and wellness by showing you we've got the number one portfolio in this area. And I think these are three trends that must not be overlooked. So I'm talking about that. Okay, Colin, how do we make the money? There's different ways to earn money. And I tell you, I stood back when I saw the plan. I thought, whoa, this makes sense because the product range that you have access to spans across many different categories. And some of those categories are products that you have right now in your own home. So I looked at it and I said, wow, now bear in mind, I'm from the corporate world, and not that, the products that we had are very different, but in a narrow field. But here I am looking at, here's this business that will support me, that I don't have to spend a lot of money, and I can get the products that I'm using in my own home. I can get them from my own business. I thought, oh, no, that is a game changer. So if it is that I can now place my money that I'm getting from the corporate world into my business model and take the products out and have my money working twice for me, I thought, hey, that's a win. That's a big win. So, you can earn money by using the products from your own business, and I'll show you how that works, and by selling, retailing the products. So there's profit that you got from doing that. Then you have the option of actually growing your business, depending on what you want to achieve. We'll show you how on a monthly basis you can get money. So if you did a sale today, you get a transaction, you get paid that same day because you picked up the product, you transfer it to the customer, you get the money. But Amway also then allows you on a monthly basis to collate all your activity and then give you some money based on that total month's activity. And I'm going to break that down for you. Okay. And then they say, hey, we have some additional monies that we will add in to make the business more attractive. Now, I tell you, today, the business is all online, so you could get registered. You get registered tonight, tomorrow, whatever else, and you could start your business. One of the things that I recognize that we may need to work on when we join the business, back then, in their genius, because Amway said, hey, look, you know what? We got products that are second to none. So when somebody joins the business, let them have a starter pack, which we paid for, okay, that contains some products. And those products enable us to immediately see the benefit of the Amway business because the products work. And I would say to you, when you say about retailing, hey, you get some products and you see how great these products are, and then we could go forward for the other elements. And we were able to understand that the products were high quality, And looking around, there was the exclusivity in the brands. And again, because I was in the corporate world, I recognized some key aspects that made the Amway business highly competitive. Okay. Um, See, Neutralite is one of their flagship brands and is a flagship brand because it's number one in the world. And for a number one brand product, Amway, in their wisdom, in their high wisdom, controlled the from the seed all the way to the plate for those products. They own the farms. They ensure that the farming techniques, the harvesting, the conversion processes was second to none. And I had the opportunity of going and see that for myself because now that was right in my core zone. And I know what we did for to have number one products across the globe in my corporate business. And then I went to Amway and I saw they were doing exactly the same. Boy, big tick in the box. So you just need to get hold of the products and see what it is. Now, I talked about the monthly bonuses, and then there's a scale that Amway uses. For every product, there is points that go with a product. And, for trying to get an understanding, a point, you see PV, a point is roughly 2.23 pounds. So to make it easy, just in math wise, you say, look, a PV about 2 pounds, 2 pounds something. So that's a scale that Amway uses. And everything that I'm talking about here is available. When you registered, you can go into the Amway site and everything here is there. So you can study and go over this. But I would say the key aspects of our business is really getting started. And the getting started piece, just as an example. Now, this is talking about Anna artistry, but it's just outlining you get it started in business. You get some products, you using some products, and you get some customers. And by using the products and selling the products, you get the retail profit that I mentioned before, and you can see the quality of the products, and you can really look at moving forward. Okay, so I did mention about the points of the PV. The business volume is there to actually convert your actual money that you get based on the monthly activity. But here is Anna. She's done some sales. She's also, because of the volume of products that she has worked with, she gets a bonus. Okay. Now, we're going to look at moving on because, look, we earn money from this business we buy from ourselves and we use. Okay. And that will generate points. But we now specialize with looking at getting customers that will purchase products, and we service them, and you get retail profit, and you get points. And you also look at building out a team. And by building a team, you get more income. So this is the progression of where you're working with the person who's invited you. Now, I tell you, Andrew and I, we were saying, well, okay, Colin, you're always flying around. How do you get time to build? How do you get time to meet with people? And, the other genius of this opportunity that you're looking at is that you're not working alone. You have people who will help you, okay? And they will step in and do guidance and coaching and even do some of the activities for you if you're challenged. And you know, Andrew and I were fortunate that, you know, Kate and Trevor and Jackie stepped in and helped us on a number of occasions. Yeah. So you know, you will be able to start looking at growing your team. So the people who invited you, they have a vested interest in helping you. And here, this just shows where Amia has now grown her business, and she has got downlines, and there her total business income, which is reflective of the group differential volume, and she's at a 6%. So she's climbing that PV ladder. And that's a good thing to do because, you know, one of the things that you might not be able to do in the workplace is set your own dreams and goals of what you want to achieve. In this business, you'll be asked, what are the things that matters most to you? Just as I said up front. So don't know, no matter where you want to go on that scale, you will get the guidance for growing there. So we're now going to continue driving the business. And in driving the business, we're looking at expanding our network. We're looking at saying, okay, the more volume that we can get flowing through from your efforts, as the greater the return. And that is key to understand. It is something that is done in all businesses, every business. They need to find ways of getting more volume through the system. Okay. And you know, if you look in the fast food business, you'll see the way in which they just duplicate themselves for getting more volume through. We have a system, and the person who's brought you here will help you with that system. And that is a system you work with, and you move your business here, as illustrated, Jordan, up at 9% volume. What you're recognizing and hopefully seeing that your income is increasing. So when you see headlines of inflation is up or cost of living is up, you basically have a means of negating the impact of that. And that's something that has always struck me from the time I joined this business, is that we had, I would say, an absolute foolproof way of negating some of the external influences that we cannot control. So we can control what we do here. So note that. We continue driving the business. We continue working the system. Okay. And the Amway business says, if you come to 15%, here's what we're going to do. So you now get more money coming in. And the more money, you saw the discretionary income bonuses that I mentioned earlier, but they now started kicking in a major way, and they really accelerate your income return from the business. So when you are looking at this business, do not be mistaken to say, oh, you know what, and sell some soap, it's only X. But if you consider you've got 20, 30, 40 people, each selling soap, and you've got a right structure, and you don't start getting an income of £775, it makes a big difference. In some cases, it's about a half of a mortgage payment. Some places maybe an outright mortgage payment. But this is great to have. So we move forward because Amway would love to entertain people getting to the top of the bonus scale. And when you're there are more discretionary incomes that are thrown in, and the business shows you that, you know, there's the margin, the retail margin, all the way to what you can earn, as we're showing you there, within the 12 months. Now, that's significant monies that you can have from building this business. And, what Andrew and I found is that by simply listening to the people who've invited us to this business, we were able to move through and start to create a different life. And in listening to the people, there were a couple of things that they referenced. And I tell you, the power of what we saw is something that you can only get by immersing yourself in the system. And you'd hear people talking about, research the system, engage in the system to fully understand it. Because the products are good. And the products, Amway stands behind its products. As I said, I've been to places where I've seen the Amway manufacturing facilities, second to none. They stand up alongside anything we're doing. Amway pays the money, they look after the distribution, etc. And when we talk about a chunk of your cost is taken care of, Amway stands that. All of the what you call the e-commerce platform or whatever, they've built that. They never charged us for that, but that has enabled us to be able to communicate with customers in a better way, quicker way, slicker way, etc. So they do significant investment to ensure that the business is relevant for the today. Not when we join the business. It's relevant for today. And they will continue to invest as required to make the business relevant for tomorrow. Now, Network 21 is a business system. And I recognize the power of the system because in my corporate world, I work with people or brands where the system was the key differentiator in the businesses. And wherever I went in the globe, the system was the same. The system was the same, okay? Because those brands recognized that if you have a good system, a workable system, a teachable system, all you need to do is duplicate it. And Network 21 is such a system. I tell you, when I first saw this business, I saw this business from a gentleman who was a director in one of the big brands. And here I am coming from corporate. Here's this guy, director, corporate, and he's building the business. And he showed a phenomenal business plan. To this day, it's just imprinted on my brain. And I said, wow. But I was then told, you need to go to a business building seminar. We call them something called Connect. The person who's invited you will tell you about the Connect meetings. And so I said, fine. And I drove down the motorway and I went along to this meeting. A Network 21 meeting. And in that meeting, I saw some folks, and there was, again, one particular presenter who I would say was on par or beyond some of the folks that I worked with in my industry. And they were able to communicate effectively, efficiently, and cast a vision and really raise the motivation in you to do something for yourself because they had done it. So it's like leading by example, talking from example, illustrating where appropriate with the right tools. And that's what Network 21 is. Network 21 takes people who have done the work, who have built themselves up, who've invested in themselves, and they give back into the system that makes this business work. Okay? Now, all of that is optional. It's optional. Because listen, Network 21 wasn't going to pay me to go down the motorway to go to a meeting etc. But it's all optional. Okay. And what you'll find as you immerse yourself in a Network 21 system is that the leadership, the coaching, development that is available is second to none. Okay. And yes, it carries a cost, but it's a fraction of the cost that I saw that we paid in the corporate world. And bearing in mind in the corporate world, that training is specific for you to achieve the objective for the year. Network 21's training is there for you to achieve the objectives for the future, changing your trajectory. So I will tell you about some meetings that are coming up that I would highly, highly suggest that you go to. But come across to the team. The team, people act in your best interest. Best way to put it. They act in your best interest. So you'll be involved with the person who's invited you here. They've got a support team, and they will work with you to help you to get ahead. And that is key. So that's what we call the pillars of the partnership. Okay. Now, one of the things Amway has done and continuing to invest in is providing an academy, the learning platform, which is there for you to learn more about the business, be more confident, and for you to be able to, in your own time, grow your business. So the person who's invited you will tell you about Amway Academy. But you see, what you're having here is, Network 21 is there cheering you on, supporting you, providing the tools. Amway's on the other side, ensuring that everything is there to help you to get ahead. Okay? They're ensuring that all the obstacles that can stunt a business from its growth and development, or even prevent it from even getting started, are removed. So this is what we've got there. So I talked about a principal meeting coming up, and there's a meeting on the 14th of February in Milton Keynes. It's one of the, I would say, key calendar meetings that you should attend. And I would go as far as to say, listen, you come to this first one and you come to the second one. After you've come to two, then decide if this environment is not good for you. Okay? Because what are you going to experience? It's a weekend, as it's called, a weekend seminar. So you're away from the busyness of the day, and you are around people that have all got a vested interest of getting ahead. People who want to learn more, be motivated, and to understand what it is. And what you will have as a case study, because the weekend seminars, it provides great case study material. Okay. Just like how I had that little mini case study of the lady in down the motorway, and she shared a vision. That was a mini case study for me. Okay. And it fired me up significantly. I suggest you come to the weekend. This is several case studies. And by case studies, I mean, you're going to meet people, you're going to hear people achieving things, and you're going to hear about the challenges they've had, they've overcome. You hear about their background, etc. So when you have a case study laid out in front of you, where you have the person's background, you understand what they've achieved, you see the challenges, you see what the things, the tools they employed to help them to get ahead. And you'll see, hey, you know what? I think I can employ those same tools. Oh, yeah, and I did have that challenge. I now know what I can do to get around it. And our principal speaker, Janos Demeter, he comes from Hungary. You can see the bio there. But I'm just going to say he comes from Hungary. He now lives in the US with his wife, Rachel, who was from England. They've got grown-up kids that have done great things in the US. But because he was able to build his business, he had the resources to present him and the rest of the family to be able to relocate to the US of A. That is significant, guys. Okay. Now, wouldn't you want to come and hear from somebody who started off with a challenging life in terms of income earning, with little money, stepped out, took a big risk, and now is reaping the rewards? So when I started off by saying destiny is not a matter of chance, it's a matter of choice. It is not a thing to be waited for. It's a thing to be achieved. Janos Demeter typifies every part of that. And I would suggest that you do take the time, scrub the diary, make the necessary changes to get to this weekend seminar. Get back to the person who's invited you to have a look at this, and they'll be able to help you to make the necessary steps to get there. Okay, I'm going to pause now. I'll ask Joanna to do an impact statement for me, and then I'll come back. Joanna.
Hi, Colin. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for having me. My name is Joanna Bright, and I live in Peterborough. Originally, I come from Poland. I work as a civil servant for the government, and I have been involved in the Amway business for some years now. I initially joined the business to have access to skincare products, but obviously we've got some fantastic products available, and I gradually over time started replacing my ex brands that I had at home with Amway products to try them, and especially that there is no risk involved because there's 90 days money back guarantee on all Amway products. So I basically very quickly fell in love with practically every product. And what I saw as well was with time this as a business opportunity where I could supplement my income, have business on the side, and then eventually replace my income and not be reliant on the job. I had no business background, so I needed some education, and my sponsors at the time did something very smart, for which I'm extremely grateful. Namely, very early on, they invited me to Network 21 business functions, and ever since then, I have had years-long exposure to leadership business building materials in audios, books, and attending many functions. This has been tremendously important in my personal growth. It changed and shaped my mindset and how I have approached challenges that life has been presenting me with. I'm incredibly grateful to all my mentors and coaches in the business over the years, and I'm very excited about building my Amway business in the future going forward. Thank you, Colin.
Thank you, Joanna. So that gives you one of the people backgrounds from that are involved with the business. I'm just gonna Network 21 is our business system, and without Network 21, I can say I would not have been able to live the kind of life I'm living right now. Andrea, likewise, and she could speak for herself. But the power of the system is, centered around personal development. But inside of personal development, you have the opportunity of being able to focus on key areas that will deliver your dreams and goals. And I just want to start, let me come back to share. I'm just going to take one aspect of the Network 21 system. It's called the activity loop, and I touch on an 8-step pattern. But it's just as a key teaser for you to understand when Joanna talked about what the Network 21 system has done for her and continues to do for her, is what you can actually do as well. So if I jump back in here, go here, and I'm gonna come down top that. Okay. Right. So the person who's invited you will guide you through. Well, all I'm going to share with you what we followed. And like I said, Trevor and Jackie and Kate, they were instrumental in saying, okay, Colin and Andrea, here are the things that you need to do. We have a system we're going to follow, and part of it was, listen, we got to show the plan. And when the system says that your coaches, when I said to you, your team and coaches are there for you, they're truly there for you, because a little old Colin and Andrea just joined a business, and Trevor, Jackie, and Kate are showing a plan in our living room. Okay, so SDP just says show the plan, and there's some background activities that will be undertaken ahead of you showing the plan. The person who's invited you will work with you to say, okay, here are the background activities, like you need to, build a list and identify the people. There's an approach that they will make, and they will guide you through, etc. But, what we're looking to do is really expose the business to people, just like somebody has exposed you to the business. So you show the business plan. There is a set pattern of saying, okay, you're going to go for the follow-up, i.e. the next steps after showing the plan, because the person will make a decision, and that decision you will know about as you go through the follow-up part of this business. And again, there's a number of underpinning activities that flow into the follow-up. And from there, decisions are made which enable you to say, okay, let's go for a startup, okay? And really kickstart your business. And, with that startup, again, a number of activities are underpinned. They invite the folks to come and see the business plan. So as a high level macro schematic, they're distinct chunks that we work within. And it's all within the Network 21 system to enable you to have a successful commencement of your business, because if we can actually get a good start, then it's a repeatable and duplicatable aspect of our business. So that's one of the key things with the Network 21 system. And they have adapted for today's business, in that they use a lot of online tools. There's the Network 21 mobile, which the person will tell you about. The various, like I mentioned, the connect meetings in my, it's not business building, but it's a connect meeting, which is all online. They use appropriate technology in the right way to help you to get ahead. Okay, so that's one of the key patterns that we use. That's important. But that flows into this 8-step pattern. And you know, Jim Dornan, who was the founder member of Network 21, he and the key followers recognize that, look, if people follow this 8-step pattern, and some of this flows back into what you saw as a high-level schematic, then you know, we have a means of being able to, in the outstretched arm to the person we want to work with, have a great way of getting success. So, you know, the first thing that drives you in the business is, you know, why are you in the business? So the dreams, and I didn't mention that right up front, that, you know, we were looking, there was more money than month, the things we wanted to do, you know, we want to send the boys to private school, et cetera, et cetera. So the things that we had written down that we wanted, that was the fuel to propel us, okay? And after that, you know, it's a case of you becoming, Network 21 calls it a core person. There's just some basic things that we need to do. You know, it's yes, becoming core is a matter of choice, but you know, destiny is not a matter of of chance. It's a matter of choice. You got to say, hey, I will do the steps that are necessary as outlined by the business system to get ahead. That is designed to help the duplication process. Like I said, you know, I was all over the place globally, but the system worked. Okay, so becoming a core person is a key aspect, and part of being a core person is, you know, attending the functions of which the Janusz Demeter weekend seminar, I think, is absolutely something not to be missed. You make a list. I talked about the list earlier. You learn an invitation. Again, the person who has invited you will help you to get that invitation going. And today it is so much easier. And they will, and I say easier not in that you have to sit and write to the script, but the communication, the way that you can WhatsApp, etc. You know, it's a quicker, faster way. It's business at the speed of thought, basically. You know, so you learn the invitation, show the plan, follow through that I spoke about. You review your process, and then you do it again. Look, this business is not complicated. Okay, the Amway business is not complicated. The Amway business is a simple business of exchanging your current products in your house for a new set of products that belong to part of your business. That's stage one. If the products fulfill what it says on the label, then you should be satisfied that the choice in making the shift from your previous products, Amway products, was a good decision. Then the next part of the Amway business is learn how to help other people to do that. And that's where Network 21 comes in. And if we could put our heads around that, we know that by doing the simple steps, the quote that I started really does ring true. And I will just end on repeating that. Destiny is not a matter of chance. It's a matter of choice. It is not a thing to be waited for. It's a thing to be achieved. Thank you very much for listening. Please get back to the person who's invited you here. They will help you and guide you to the next steps. And I look forward to seeing you at the weekend seminar with Janusz Demeter. Thanks all, and good night.